recording. We do have a quorum. Everyone is in attendance. Lori, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance, please?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so first thing we have to do is to reorganize the Board of Trustees. We always do that at the May meeting after the elections in May, so what's the 2.1, the discussion of procedures? What is that?
So usually we just talk about, so before we swear in the elected trustees, District Clerk and reorganize the board. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Gary, Lori, and Bill for refiling and serving our school and community in this important role. So thank you. As I've said many times, I really do feel fortunate to have the school board that we have working together for a common purpose, and that's for the students, the staff, and the community. So it's been a special privilege to get to be a part of that for the last couple of years. And then during the 25-26 school year, as per board policy, we'll continue to meet on the second Monday of every month at 7:00 p.m. in the boardroom. Josh Patterson is online today, and so he will, once he gets started, kind of navigate the packet and how all of that stuff will operate. And so he will do that. And at this time, I believe Mike Miller, our county superintendent, is here, and he will swear in our board of trustees who won by acclamation. So congratulations.
Suzanne's got the certificates. I would normally start by congratulating everybody for the work that they did during their term and say goodbye and thank you. But that sounds a little redundant today. Go on and swear everybody in. And Suzanne knows that I need one to read. So are we gonna do it all at one time or one at a time?
One is now.
Okay, so do you also have everybody else has one? It will be some.
You have Lori's.
Okay. All right.
Wait a minute, we got three. Not yet.
So I will say, I do solemnly swear, you can say affirm if you want, either one is fine. So as I read, I will ask you to follow after me and repeat after me. So raise your right hand, please. I do solemnly swear. That I will support, protect, and defend. That I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Montana.
Constitution of the State of Montana.
And that I will discharge the duties of my office. With fidelity, so help me God.
Fidelity, so
And congratulations. You have done this a few times.
Wait,
Yes, and I have to sign all of these and then.
we just signed.
You do not have to get notarized. You can sign it. Just read that up.
we did.
Just sign here where it says signature.
Okay. Signature candidate.
And I guess it was because Mike is here that we can do that, even though he was here.
Oh,
Suzanne we just thought that they all had to be.
I'm signing. Yes, I'll put my real name down. Sure why I still use my alias.
Because nobody would know you as Robert. Robert.
Good name.
You want to sign my name, Chairman? Sure.
Lori and Gary is for the 3-year terms, and Bill, is that right? Yeah, you have to read, is it next year already?
Yeah, next year. He does. Yeah.
And you send me that information because I do have a spreadsheet where I'm,
That's mine. And Robert Mike signed his.
I know.
everything is, even when my daughter places.
But like when we met at Boys State a million years ago, you were Mike then.
Yeah. My dad's name is also Robert, so it was just easier for the folks to call me. All right, so I will thank you for last year's term, and then I would like to wish you the best of luck and congratulate you and thank you for the dedication that you give to the school. I need to sign. I gotta stay here. Last time.
Mike, thank you for everything you did.
And so now it's time to reorganize the board, starting with the election of the board chair and then the vice chair. And once that is complete, you will elect the district clerk, who will also then need to be sworn in.
Nominations are now open for chairman of the board.
I would nominate Gary Love for chairman.
Gary Love has been nominated. Are there any other nominations for chairman? Are there any other nominations for chairman? That's three done. Are there any nominations for chairman? Let me keep baking. No other nominations. All those in favor of nominating or electing Gary Love as chairman of the board? Say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you very much. I appreciate it and we'll try to do a good job. 38 years as chairman. So I think so.
Might be.
Record of stupidity. Okay, next is election of vice chairman.
Second that.
Roxanne England has been nominated for vice chairman. Are there any other nominations for vice chairman? Are there any other nominations for vice chairman? Are there any other nominations for vice chairman? Is there any discussion? All those in favor of electing Roxanne England as vice chairman, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Congratulations, Roxanne.
Thanks.
Next is we need to elect and swear in the district clerk. So somebody needs to nominate.
I would nominate Suzanne Valak as the district clerk.
Okay. Suzanne Volek has been nominated as district clerk. Are there any other nominations for district clerk? Are there any other nominations for district clerk? Are there any other nominations for district clerk? Seeing none, is there any discussion?
She's doing an excellent job.
She does an excellent job. She does. All those in favor of electing Suzanne Volek as district clerk, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Also passes unanimously. Okay, Michael, you're up again.
And I will say that I work with 7 dedicated, hardworking school clerks. Rita Monday has 3. Damian Hounkamp has 1. Stacy Stetzer has 1. Michelle Davis has 1. Darcy, I don't know how to pronounce Darcy's last name, in Lima, Casey Swisher, and of course Suzanne. And they have kept me on target and in the right direction for all these years. And Suzanne has done a very, very good job since she first became your clerk. So I welcome, I think you've done a good job here. So are we ready? Remember? So I, again, you can swear or affirm, you can say that or. Stop it. I do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Montana, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Suzanne.
Yes, I guess I'm done now, huh? Bye. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.
And that is not to be in the date.
Thank you.
Okay. The minute. Okay, we have the minutes here from the last two meetings, from the April 14th meeting and the April 23rd meeting. Josh, are you here listening? Josh Patterson?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Have you been here a while?
Yes, I caught the tail end of the closed session.
Okay. All right. Thank you for being here. Pipe up if there's anything you need to say or don't hear or whatever when we're going through our meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anyway, look at the minutes if you haven't had a chance to.
They are sitting next to you. They were not in the packets. I apologize for that.
That was a mistake. And the one in.
Thought I just missed him.
No, I did.
Yeah.
Which is.
I would move to approve the minutes from April 14th and April 23rd.
Second.
We've been seconded to approve the minutes from April 14th and April 23rd. Any questions, comments?
If I wasn't here, I just told them I told them. Say. The minutes are accurate or not.
That's a good question. I don't know. Either way, I think it's fine. So
They look.
that's good. All those in favor of approving the two sets of minutes, say aye. Those opposed, pass it unanimously. Next, we have the introduction of the visitors, Mr. Higgins.
Right, we have Casey Elliott, Kelvin Bitzer. Mike Miller finished. Mike Hoffman's here, Josh Keller. Kevin Hanson's here. And Chris Waite.
Okay. And like with any of our meetings, you're certainly welcome to stay the whole time, and if you need to leave or want to leave partway through, feel free to do so. Talk about you after you're. Okay, next is approval of claims and accounts, Megan.
To you, the first one is 20078 for A&I distributors for $1,986.65. This is for engine oils, fluids, and solutions for our transportation department. 20082 Barrett Hospital and Healthcare for $3,087.51. This just reflects the trainer fee, so there was no PT additional charges for our related services this month. 20083 Student Association for $8,245.75. The big chunk of this was for the sound system deposit that we approved at the last board meeting, and you'll remember that we will be using some of the innovative tax credit dollars to support that. And as Roxanne talked about at graduation at UM Western, we certainly are very excited to update the PA system in the gym. It's been long overdue. Trying to decide what the year was that it was updated, but it was before I came 20 years ago. So anyways, it'll be nice to have that put in place. Let's see here, 20084 BMO MasterCard for $5,629.73. Again, if you kind of look through there, a good chunk of that money is from grants that we are spending down between vocational education, advanced opportunities, and our DNRC grant that we're working on, hopefully having complete by the end of May. And then, of course, there are some transportation charges that are on there. We did have a little mishap on our trip to the It's Your Choice assembly. Nobody can figure out how it happened, but the bus came through to drop off the kids, and somehow on the way through, it clipped the gate on the back end and like folded it into a crazy. It just was insane. Nobody knows how it happened, but it happened, and so we did have to fix it. So that is on the spot. On the second page. At the top there, 20086 building codes, Bureau boiler. It's only for $180, but I just thought it was important to just point out that our boilers have been inspected, and we have 6 boilers that have been certified. And so that is once a year that they come in and do that inspection and certify those boilers. Paul could probably speak a little bit more to that, but that's accurate. Let's see here. Moving down towards the end of the page, 20090, City of Dillon Water for $1,780.48. That's water and sewer use for April. And then looking at last year, it's actually down a couple $100 from last year. So that's not the trend in everything that we're going to take together. We'll celebrate that one. 20091. Cognia Incorporated for $1,400. That's our advanced ed membership for our evaluations and those different types of things, and we will use Title II money to pay for that. So, and then it isn't underlined, but I did, as I was going back through there, there also was a charge for Crowley and Fleck for $4,263, and that's just legal fees that we have incurred for the construction. On page 3, 20093 Dex Imaging for $3,564.35. You'll see there which charges for January through April, which is just the use. Obviously, we have the copier lease. And then in the last couple of months, they have broken out the contract base rate. Looking back at it, it hasn't changed much. So it's like they just took that piece out of it and just separated it on that. Looking at a couple of different things, it's just really hard to find local vendors that can do this. And so, I think we talked a little bit in terms of, what our options are. And it's really that there just are not a lot of options. Okay, and so, and I do think that if you were to not have that contract and not have that lease, just the cost of the ink and, the paper and just all of those different things, I think you would end up spending more. I haven't done that research, but it seems like that would be the case. And so, as Phil said, there just are not a lot of options out there. Yes, so then moving down 20096 DPHHS, that's our CSCT match for $2,487.92. And again, Suzanne continues to make sure that we are getting that match. Again, it's not black and white, looking at it month to month, but it does seem like we are getting what they are suggesting that we are getting, which is that match. And plus that YBGR services is extremely beneficial for our school and our students. 20097 general distributing for $2,427.09. And that's for a variety of miscellaneous welding and shop supplies. You will recall that we did have a contract with UM Western for that adult education class that they taught. This will be reimbursed for the most part, because most of that was just over and above what we would have been spending. So that was part of that contract. And I believe we got a check today. Mistaken. So they were very great partners, by the way, as you guys look at the possibility of that in the future. It seems to be a very positive partnership between us and UM Western. Page 4, about halfway down where it says 20103, KL Smith Consulting for $1,111.28. They help us basically to just ensure that we get the best E-rate, so that we're not paying as much for our communication and some of those different types of things. And they file those forms and those different types of things. So it's an annual charge. 20104 Larry's Automotive for $2,250. That is the bus storage for our Wisdom bus that we store out in Wisdom.
That's an annual fee.
That's an annual fee.
Okay.
And then on page 5, Northwestern Energy, $8,907.66. Again, this is for April. Last year, it was about $10,000, so it's up about $1,000 from last year. Do keep in mind that we did not have Vigilante football field on there last year, so that is going to be some of those extra charges that we are going to see on there. So. Then moving down 20112 Shell Energy North American for gas transmission for April. That is for, $2,605.35. And last year it was, it's like $2,300. So it's actually down a little bit as well. Moving down 20115 State of the Heart Therapy, $4,286.25. Again, this is for speech services for 2 months. So I guess the bill got lost in the mail last year or last month. And so this is for both March and April. So for $4,286.25. And then 20116 Systems Northwest for $1,947.50. So a good chunk of this is just annual charges for our camera monitoring and our fire monitoring that we have with them. We were having a very annoying issue with the alarm going off, where we were having a problem within the system, and we took Northwest Energy, or I'm sorry, I would say Northwest Energy, Systems Northwest, and Paul Tchaikovsky, our technology director, a significant amount of time to try to figure out what it was. And I do think that they have found what the problem was and were able to reset that. And so loud squeal, and you couldn't get it to turn off. It was horrible. And so that has been fixed. We are very thankful. And I believe that was all that I highlighted. Did I miss one? I did mention it. The Crowley and Buck one. So I did. I noticed that I didn't underline it, but I did highlight it.
So move to pay the claims.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to pay the claims. Are there any other questions or comments? Those in favor, say aye. Those opposed? The comment and communication, does anyone have anything they'd like to comment on?
Just want to say that FFA banquet last week was really well attended. I think Caleb said that they had about 150 people that were in attendance. So just a lot of people to celebrate the great things that the kids and did this year. And so that was really positive. And then, of course, we had the open house for Josh end of April. And so I think that was very positive as well. Hopefully Josh felt that way too.
I would just like to comment real quickly. As you're aware, the technology levy did fail, both for us and for District 10. I guess I'd like to thank everyone for all the hard work they put into it, and for the staff and faculty and students that tried to help us get this thing passed. Very disappointing, in my opinion, that it failed. I mean, it's going to obviously affect our general fund budget immensely. So it's something going forward we're going to have to pay lots of expenses out of the general fund. So
Wasn't there only 44% voter turnout?
it is. Yes. Anyway, I feel bad that it was defeated for both school districts, and rightly also, I see.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other public comment or communication from anyone? Okay, if not, we'll go on to the superintendent's report, Megan.
So 7.1, Kelsey Zitzer's career day recap. So Mrs. Zitzer is here today to reflect on the career day that she held in her biology and AP biology.
Hello. So I had last month, I think I was trying to count, it was either the 6th or 7th year, hosting this biology career day. Each of the 4 biology classes and 2 AP biology classes had 3 people from the community who work either in the medical field, the academic field at Western, or the ecology field, come and speak for about 15 minutes each about their life experiences, what it looks like to have the job that they have, how they got there, advice they had for high school students. Some of the highlights this year, 2020 graduate, I think, Cole Johnston, he just graduated from Western, and he came to the AP biology classes and talked about his research that he did in genetics and his path to going on to get his PhD, and he had a bunch of advice for finding how he found himself and his passion through college, and that was really, really cool for our students to hear about. One of the other things that I really noticed this year from all of the presenters, as we've been looking at the graduate profile all year long and talking about the graduate profile, the number of presenters who spoke about the same skills that we've identified in the graduate profile, they use terms like face-to-face communication and the importance of building those communication skills being really critical and helping them be successful in their careers. They also talked about the importance of critical thinking and how that was one of the most important things that they learned about in school, or those skills through school. They talked about how important it was for all of our students to take opportunities for work-based learning and internships, taking opportunities that they had in high school to take advanced courses, all of those opportunities making a really big impact in their lives, because a number of people talked about that they had this idea of what they thought they wanted to do, and then did this internship or workplace learning that was what they thought they wanted, and then they got there and realized it wasn't what they wanted at all, and how valuable that was for them to have that experience before way too late. And the thing that I heard number one throughout the whole day from presenters was how important it was to have curiosity and lead a life of curiosity, delve into what people were curious about. And that was really great and inspiring for me to hear, because I think that's like the foundation of science. And that was also one of the things that we identified in the graduate profile. So it was just really reinforcing to me all of the things that we identified as what we want our students to take away are truly the skills that are used in the workplace now. So that's what I wanted to share.
Great. Well,
Thank you.
thanks, Kelsey.
Thank you. 7.2, 25-26 student schedules. So Mrs. Hacker, our counselor, has been in the process of finalizing our 25-26 schedule. She's been working extremely hard, modifying and putting the final touches on creating the schedule that works for students as well as staff. Our goal is to get to a place where at the end of this year, before students check out in May, that our 9th through 11th grade students will get their next year's schedule with what we have them in. And then also that we will get it to our incoming freshmen at their 8th grade promotion night. So I think their promotion night is Tuesday after Labor Day, if I'm not mistaken. And so they will do a little walkthrough of that graduation in that morning. So yes, Phil will know. So they'll be in the gym that morning. And so Mr. Hankins and Ms. Hacker will go over and visit with them and inspire them and make them excited about being in high school. And then we will give them their schedule and again, hopefully just kind of leave them with just an impression of just being excited about returning in the fall in August. And so, and then of course the counselor is just here usually 5 days, 10 days prior to the start of the school year. So we'll have some dates set aside where students can change their schedule if they need to, because inevitably, you know, something will come up where they'll think, oh gosh, I really don't want to take this class. I'd, you know, like to get into that. And of course, there are going to be a few holes here and there, just because again, Ms. Hacker's working really hard to connect with all of those kids. But unfortunately, sometimes that gets difficult in the spring because we've got kids going in so many different directions. And so, but I think we're on pace to have that happen. So we're just excited about you know, making that transition, getting through the end of the year, but also getting kids excited about hopefully coming back. Let's see here, 7.3 graduation diplomas. So graduation, as Mr. Hankins will talk about in a little bit, is going to be Sunday, May 25th at 2 o'clock in the BW Lodge gym. We mentioned it at the last board meeting, but always at this meeting, we kind of solidify those people that want to, those board members that want to help out with the passing out of diplomas. And so if you are interested, make sure you speak up.
I'll be able to be there this year, so
I can help out if you come to.
be great.
And I think Roxanne, it would be great if you were to sit with your family and then just come up. I will just organize.
Whatever's easier, whatever you
Yeah.
would rather.
Well, and whatever's easiest for the process too. I don't want to make a big deal.
No, it works. So we can get it figured out ahead of time. Anyone else interested? Agreeable? Mike and Roxanne and
We don't have as many graduation speeches, so we'll have room on the podium. Last year we might not have had room. 7.4 coaching resignations. So included in your packet is a letter of resignation from Tiffany Bruce and my letter of acceptance from her role as head cheerleading coach. So this is obviously one of those that can be hard to fill. We've been fortunate for the last couple of years with Tiffany, and we had Briley Zump before that. And so we've got some big shoes to fill, but Brock, I think, has already gotten that position open. And if not, we'll be opening it very soon. So if you know anybody that's interested in cheerleading, send them to Mr. Nolan.
Lexi Laus, who was our student body president, I had mentioned it to her. I said, if there's ever an opportunity, she's staying in Dillon and working for Ceridian. So as soon as I see it posted, I'll mention it to her. It's awesome.
I know he's got it all put together. I just don't know if it'll be in the next paper. Casey might know.
Okay.
She has no idea. But I know it will be open soon.
Okay.
And then also included in your packet is a letter of resignation from Whitney Ferris and my letter of acceptance from her role as assistant girls basketball coach. So we also will have a girls basketball coaching position open. I do know that Taylor Martello, who is in our YBGR program was a volunteer assistant, and I believe she's very interested. Josh
Yes,
will probably
she
speak
is,
to that. So I think she would be a good transition into that, and of course, inside the staff, so. it'd be easy.
Might as well get.
Right. Everybody thinks I have a baby.
Miss Brittany,
Yes, for sure, yeah. He did a wonderful job.
Five teacher resignations, so included in your packet is a copy of letter of resignation from Mike Telling from his science teaching position and my letter of acceptance. So you'll see in my letter that Mike has been a teacher here for the last 20 years and has decided to retire, and so he will be his wife also retired from the elementary district as well, and so they have a place by Georgetown Lake that he is currently commuting from right now. I think they have a place in Dillon, but I think for the most part, they're commuting back and forth from there, so he will be retiring. And then 7.6 counselor resignation, included in your packet is a copy of a letter of resignation from J.C. Hacker from her counseling position and my letter of acceptance. She's been here for a year. She's just done a wonderful job. I'm sure you guys have all seen in the paper that her husband was recently selected as the chancellor at Montana Tech. And so she just feels like, it's important for her to be there during that time. And I think she's really enjoyed her time as counselor here. And it was a great experience for her as well as a great experience for us. And so she definitely will be missing that position. We will open that position. And hopefully get another good counseling candidate.
miss both she and Mike, they both done a wonderful job.
Yeah, for sure. And then Brock is not here. I know it's a booster club meeting. The hope is that he is going to get here because one of the things that he is going to talk about is, and I think it's included in your packet, is the BSN contract for Nike and just kind of go through kind of what that means. Obviously, he's the one that has spoken to the representative there and has all the ins and outs about that. And so that is an action item. And so in order for us to take advantage of that, we have to have it approved at this meeting. So hopefully he will have the opportunity to be here to share a little bit about that. But I'll give him a little bit of time before that happens. And then I'm sure he'll talk about the fact that we are gearing up for postseason. So this week we have tennis leaving tomorrow for a rainy start to the tennis divisional tournament. So they are scheduled to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The hope is that they can get it done in 2 days, but they always leave 3 because of rain delay. The option is Hamilton has 2 courts inside their little indoor facility that's there, and we have done that. I was talking to Todd Nordell today, and I think one of the times that we did it, he was a senior, and he started his first match at 11 p.m. Because of course, in order to get it in, they just have to play straight through. I think that year they played until 2 or 3 in the morning. And so it's not ideal, but it's just spring in Montana. And so they get started. Our track heads to Polson for divisionals for Friday and Saturday. Our softball has secured the 2nd seed, so they don't have anything this week. So they have an automatic bid to the state tournament. And then
Great.
I know it's super exciting. And then our baseball does have a play-in game. Sounds like tentatively that's scheduled for this Saturday. We think it's going to be Billings Central, but there's a little bit of uncertainty there, just depending on the games that are going to be played. And I think, did you say 3 o'clock, Ron? 2 o'clock?
Is it here?
It's here.
So we ended up there. Speak,
Yes.
goes forth from there for the plane.
Yeah.
Of course, they have to be building central.
I know, that's what I said. Anyways, if Brock gets here, he probably will have a little bit. We all are also doing our fire truck ride for our state music. Kids that got a 1, I think is that tomorrow or Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday lunchtime. And so those kids will get to ride fire truck because they had their state convention last weekend. We shared those results into the next. That's all I for my group.
Questions of Megan? If not, we'll go on to the assistant principal's report, Rob.
Right.
There you go.
So attendance wise, once again, a pretty consistent list at 91% last month. Goes back up, and it does take a big hit because it seems like there's a lot of students that are active in the spring when it comes to tennis, track, baseball, softball. You know, and a lot of those competitions are during the school week. And then you get people doing, hey, it's spring's a good time to go on a little vacation, and so I get a lot of. Yes. And so we actually did at our last staff meeting is kind of talked a little bit about. In something like that. Help with that.
It's that, I mean, these kids that are contributing and participating in sports are excused officially from school.
Yes,
So are there numbers,
that's what Roger did.
those numbers are included in here too? So that's an official excuse by the school to not be here. So I'm wondering if that, does that make sense to everybody?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. The way Audrey made us, explain it to me is just that.
They're out of the building, is that what you said?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering if that categorization makes sense.
To do it different.
Versus, or should that be captured differently when
Well, we
it's
can-
an official approved by the school? So I think the same thing when we let the FFA kids go. I mean, there's reasons, there's a lot of benefits they get from that, which to me seems different than I just didn't get up or I didn't show up or I chose to do something different or.
It'll be good to ask Audrey.
And then that might be a good our school question, because it's like a factory report. So I'm thinking. Do an ad hoc type report where it just calculates everything but.
Yes.
It would be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'd be really curious about that, because we have we want to encourage our kids to participate, and if it's a count against them. From an attendance perspective, to not be here, I'd hate for kids and parents and families to say, well, we're not gonna participate because.
I would say it's not a count against them, but it's a count against, obviously the school. And when it comes to state reporting, it's easier to report.
So that's how the state requires the numbers to be reported.
Don't quote me on that. I'm just telling you that I think that that's what we submit to the.
I think we should talk to Audrey, because I don't think the school absences are included in. But
I don't think they are either, and the only reason I know this is I got a letter on my son. Because he was gone to the HIT for 2 days and he was on vacation for 3 days, so that was his parents' fault. He was gone for 5 days, but those were the days they listed, HIT, and that even though it's still a sporting activity, he is not excused or not, I don't know, he got, yeah. And then the vacation, so he got the 5-day letter so there was nothing else included in that from the activities other than those. So we didn't get penalized for him, I guess, put it that way.
Next meeting, I will verify.
And It just seems like it'd be a lot higher because
Yeah.
we have.
All right, we look at behavior. Nothing's really creeping up to the dent in tardies. Sometimes they try. Or to. I always like to give. When it's like, it just seems like every other month, they like it. And then it's spring, so April was kind of a crazy month. Right after midnight, there some classroom things, and then there was some email type things, and they're just kids actually, kids, and you can address that. And then the next one we're looking at is the day per week in which most of those, which behaviors happen. Usually not on Friday and not on Mondays, so really going to the good ones. And then I saw this other report which says average number of behaviors of incidents per day per month. And you know, if you look at it on September, there's only for each day there's 8 incidences. There's only one that went over 1, and that was in April. There wasn't even an incident per day. Last page leads me to my next topic is graduation. And so I will be sending this. I met with all the seniors about 3 weeks ago, and just to give them this information, let them know that we're getting very close to the end. Work hard, push through. And right now, I think there's only a concern for one student possibly or not possibly graduating. We've been in contact with that student's parents quite often. We've actually made some arrangements to try to help the student be successful. Was successful for a while and now is taking that down. But lots of different activities that we do, especially that last week when we do our awards night on Monday, the 19th. Then we have our senior walk. We have the graduates dress up in their gowns and their caps, and then they walk through the other buildings, not just high school buildings, but the elementary as well, so that they can see what a graduate looks like and why they are at school and why the hard work and what it looks like when it pays off. And so it is pretty neat, you know. I mean, see the lot of little kids getting lots of high fives and hugs, and so it's pretty fun. And then that Wednesday, we will take the kids down to Idle Falls. There's some activities, and we come home, we have rehearsal. And then they get a checkout for those students, those seniors that are here, they're gonna check out. But if they're at an activity, they usually wait until the next week after graduation, because a lot of them will have their uniforms and things that they need to turn in. Make sure that we get before we allow them to check fully out. And so just so everybody does know that if you haven't checked out yet, you will get a handshake and an envelope and a cover for your diploma, but you won't get your actual diploma until you get checked out. And then graduate or baccalaureates on Saturday, graduation on Sunday. And
Yes, it is.
we're having our weekly activity meeting, and Lee and I kind of both look at each other and like, really? It's next week. And so, and we both started hyperventilating. Oh my gosh. So are there any questions on that? Thank you.
The awards thing on Monday night, do you know what time that is?
6. Oh, yeah,
6:30? Okay.
thank you, it is.
I think Rob's gonna send an email.
Okay.
That's a good question to kind of get that. one to me.
Yeah, it's on my refrigerator. Yeah, it's on my refrigerator, but
I think that's
I could,
1 out of 7.
but I could tell that there was no time and I meant to call him and stuff, but yeah, perfect. That's okay.
Yes, it is.
I'll have to take a picture and send you. It's literally on my.
I'm proud of it.
Rob? Thank you, Mr. Lincoln. We'll go on to the consent agenda. Megan, you want to back up?
Do you mind doing it just when you,
Yeah, that's fine.
is that okay? You can just go over that.
All right.
9.1, board consideration to not open and hire the science position. So obviously we accepted Mike Telling's resignation for his retirement at the end of the year. But in an effort to save money, I am proposing to the board that we do not open and hire the open science position that was vacated by Mr. Telling. Instead of hiring this position, I'm proposing that we move Paige Pathausen into the science position. And then increase Josh Keller's FTE to 1 by moving him to PE, and increase Bobby Conan's FTE to 1 by increasing the number of business classes that she has, that she's teaching, because right now both Josh and Bobby are teaching business classes, and Josh is also teaching some PE classes as well. This does mean that there will not be a female PE teacher, and that will be the first time since I've been here that we would not have a female PE teacher. But it's definitely not unique to the state. It's not across the board where you see in most districts that they do have that. And so I would recommend that if you do approve this recommendation, that we look at or work to try to create a plan to provide a female supervision in the women's locker room, or establish criteria and set our PE teachers up for as much success as possible, and our students with as much success as possible in the locker room in that situation. Like I said, by doing this, it is a money saving, and it saves us just over a half of an FTE. So just in light of some of the budget challenges that we are facing, and obviously the not passing of the technology levy and those different types of things, that we do this. Plus it provides an opportunity for Josh and Bobby to move into, they have been part-time certified to full-time certified.
And with Paige, I mean, she was the science teacher in Twin Bridges for what, Josh, 3 years?
I think so, yes.
And she did a very fine job, and she's done a great job in the PE department, and science is her first love anyway, so it is kind of a natural transition, I think, and
She's very excited about
good.
to teach. She actually came to me and she's really ready for a new challenge and a new opportunity. And like I said, her first love was in science, and that's what she graduated. I know my husband is a professor of college and always speaks very highly of her students, and Paige is definitely one of them that he spoke very highly of. And so if this is approved, she would take on the intro to chemistry and physics classes. There is an advanced chemistry class that is a dual enrollment class that we do need to take a look at her transcript to see if she has the right credits to be able to teach that dual enrollment. But there is a possibility of shifting different classes that we could figure out a way to do that if she didn't with either Kelsey or Jeff, who is our other science teacher. And so, at the very least, that would be one of the biggest challenges in this regard. I do know that she would be very committed to getting whatever requirements that she needed to be able to do that in the future, or just to open up those opportunities. Another area that she has spoken to wanting to have some interest in is offering, you guys remember, but a number of years ago, we had a health careers class I know Barrett Hospital is looking at different partnerships and wanting to partnership with the high school to try to provide our students with exposure to, a wide variety of different health careers. And so that is something that she did teach in Twin Bridges and would feel very much about as well. And so I just think that there's a lot of potential opportunity there. She's a great teacher. Does a great job. So
Also nice for Bobby and Josh to be able to become full-time, and they've done a good job for us, and it's nice that they can continue in a full-time capacity.
I would make a motion to approve your recommendation to, unless there's more conversation. To approve your recommendation to move Paige into the science position and move Josh and Bobby to both one FTE each.
Been moved and seconded to move Paige Paffhausen into full-time science and increase Josh Keller to full-time PE and Bobby Conan to full-time business. Is there any question or discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Josh, any comments from you or Bobby?
Just thank you very much. Really appreciate the opportunity. So thank you for all the hard work figuring out how to make this happen.
Thank you.
I think two, board consideration to hire Brett Nordahl as our open math position. So we have concluded the interviews for our open math position. The hiring committee would like to recommend Brett Nordahl, and I would concur with this recommendation. And so just for a little bit of background on Brett, he has taught in Twin Bridges for a good number of years. He's taught calculus at one point. He's not currently teaching that, but he has taught it. He's taught pre-calculus, he's taught algebra 2. And obviously this math position is open due to Rick Nordahl retiring, who is a very veteran teacher of 35 years in our system, who has taught all of our upper level math classes. Brett did a nice job and would be excited to have him be at CHS. And he's shown a lot of interest in helping in extracurricular activities and those different types of things as well.
Well, he teaches the upper division then, is that what you said?
That's the plan.
Nice.
And he does have a master's and has the ability to teach the possibility of maybe getting some dual credit classes, which we have not been able to do with math, as well as the possibility of some AP classes as well.
And we just went to where we're hiring three.
Yes.
Three math
teachers.
We increased Brett or Todd's FTE at the
Okay.
last week.
Okay.
And so, and Todd is also getting his master's in math as well. And
Okay.
so between the two of them, they would have the ability to teach a wide variety of different.
I moved to hire Brett Nordahl as math teacher.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to hire Brett Nordahl as math teacher. Is there any discussion or questions? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
9.3 hire Suzanne Bollock as district clerk for the 25-26 school year. So I have completed the required evaluation of district clerk Suzanne Bollock, and I'm recommending to rehire her for the 25-26 school year. She does a great job.
I would make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded 3 times to
Yeah.
hire Suzanne as district clerk for the upcoming school year. Any questions? Suzanne, I just would like to thank you for the hard work you do and the hours you put in and the great job you do. So
Absolutely.
all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? This is unanimously.
9.4, hire the slate of certified instructors that are as presented. So included in your packet is a list of certified tenured staff that I am recommending for rehire for the 25-26 school year. And again, that was in your packet, and it just lists all of our staff members that are.
I move to hire the list of tenured staff in our package. Second.
Moved and seconded to hire the slate of certified tenured instructors as presented. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously.
So 9.5, your non-tenured staff member, Paige Paphausen, which will be in science this year. So I have completed the required evaluation of non-tenured certified staff member, Paige Paphausen, and I am recommending that you hire her for the 25-26 school year. This will be Paige's fourth contract, and upon approval, if approved, will make her tenured, even though she was in PE and would shift to science, that tenure still would be.
I think that's excellent. I would make that motion to approve her tenure.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to hire Paige Paphausen in her fourth contract. Any questions? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
And 9.6, hire non-tenured staff member Josh Keller, which in this case would be in PE. So I have completed the required evaluation of non-tenured certified staff member Josh Keller, and I am recommending you rehire him for the 25-26 school year. This will also be Josh's fourth contract, and upon approval will make him, even though he was part-time, it still would move him into that tenured position.
I'll make that motion to hire Josh for approved tenure. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to hire Josh Keller for his fourth contract, which is his 10-year contract. Is there any discussion or questions? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
9.7, hire non-tenured staff member Bobby Conan in business. So again, I have completed the required evaluation of non-tenured certified staff member Bobby Conan, and I am recommending you that you rehire her for the 25-26 school year. And this would be her third year. So it's not, she still had a year.
I'd make that motion to retire.
Seconds.
Been moved and seconded to hire Bobby Conan for her third year as a full-time business teacher. Is there any question or discussion?
She's doing great.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
Hire non-tenured staff member Todd Nordall in math. So I have completed the required evaluation of non-tenured certified staff Todd Nordall, and I am recommending you rehire him for the 25-26 school year. This would be his second contract. Yeah, he's doing a good job.
I so moved to rehire Todd Nordell. Second.
Been moved and seconded to hire Todd Nordahl for his second year as a math teacher. Any questions or discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
Just out of curiosity, because I had read this. But I don't know.
He's the youngest one.
Okay.
So he would have graduated in 2007, you see?
No, 2017.
Yeah,
So
2017.
he would have,
with Troy Anderson.
yeah, Troy Anderson, yeah. Some Brits go into the background in 2007, sorry.
I think there was Brett and then Zane and then Kelsey and then Todd.
Okay. I guess I didn't. That was.
Yeah.
You're out.
Yeah, one.
His dad, so
Oh.
even though he's the baby, he gets to see it.
He is excellent though.
He-
I would say
He's
he's.
did a great job.
He does.
He was on speed dial when my son was in high school.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't with that. Your non-tenured staff, Gary Tilton for special education. So I have completed the required evaluation of non-tenured certified teacher, Gary Tilton, and I am recommending you rehire him for the 25-26 school year. You'll recall we hired him from Twin Bridges as well. And so he's, I know, helping Michael a lot in the special education, and that's been really great to have another person to help out in exponentials.
That's for Twin Bridges people. Do they have anybody left?
I would make that motion to approve, Gary Tilton. Yeah.
Then you need a second to hire Gary Tilton as special ed for his second year. Is there any comment or discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? This is unanimously.
9.9A, hire non-tenured staff. That's Mason, Spanish, and again, this will be her second year as well. So I've completed the required evaluation of non-tenured certified teacher Jessica Mason, and I'm recommending that you rehire her for the 25-26 school year. It's been nice to have a
She's
Spanish
done
teacher.
excellent as well. I mean, there's a big difference. I hate to say it. Tyler did really great on the online stuff, but what he didn't learn compared to what he's learning this year.
So
She
much
did
better.
that's one of the things that she's talked a lot about. It's, obviously what she's teaching in Spanish too right now will probably be what, as
Yeah.
she starts to catch up with some of these kids, which will actually be Spanish 1. And so, yeah, it's just been nice having it on. I know the students have really appreciated not having to get online. Some kids can be successful.
Yeah, Ty did fine online. He thought he really liked it online, but he obviously is learning a lot more.
I move to rehire Jessica Mason.
Second.
Then moved and seconded to hire Jessica Mason, Spanish teacher for her second year. Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
9.9B, hire non-tenured staff, Rob Hankins, assistant principal. This will be his third year. So I completed the required evaluation of non-tenured assistant principal Rob Hankins, and I'm recommending you rehire him for the 25-26 school year. Obviously, we'll have working with Josh and the new leadership. So yeah.
I make that motion.
Second.
Then moved and seconded to hire Rob Hankins as assistant principal for his third contract. Is there any discussion or question? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Rob.
Hire slate of bus drivers as presented. So included in your packet is a list of route drivers that Mr. Leniger is recommending be rehired for the 25-26 school year. I concur with this recommendation. You will notice that there is one open route that he is working on trying to get filled. But the rest of those, I would recommend you rehire quickly. No.
I'll make the motion to rehire the recommended bus driver. Second.
Then moved and seconded to approve the slate of bus drivers as presented. Is there any question? Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
On 9.9D, hire slate of classified employees as presented. So included in your packet is a list of classified employees that I am recommending be rehired for the 25-26 school year. And again, these are all of our para educators, our facility director, our custodians, title people, although we don't have any title people on here because of course Bobby's moving to full time and Betty retired after 40 years. I would recommend that you approve this list.
I make the motion to rehire the classified employee.
Second.
Then moved and seconded to hire the later classified employees as presented. Questions or discussion? Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Also passes unanimously.
9.9E, hire slate of summer maintenance workers. So included in your packet is a list of summer maintenance workers that Mr. Ferguson is recommending be hired to help prepare the school for the 25-26 school year. And I concur with these recommendations. So these are the student helpers that he put out an ad for that they have responded. But
Yeah, I didn't go very far. A lot of us.
And he can really get active.
Wasn't a whole lot, although. And then of course, Dave Stetson, will help out, and Mike English will also help out. Joel Smith, who we did hire upstairs, is probably going to move on at the end of this year, which is unfortunate because he's done a good job. I did approve him because he has a maternity thing, and so I'm hoping he'll come back, but I did hear through the grapevine that he's. But of course, they do a lot of work to try to get the school in shape for the coming year. So I recommend you approve.
Second.
Moving second to hire legislative summer maintenance workers. Is there any discussion or question? Richardson and I both did that many years ago.
That's what Rockers said.
Yeah, you guys did.
Top job.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay, on to the action items.
The 10.1 board consideration to approve the memorandum of understanding with the BFT union to ensure that we are in compliance with the STARS Act. I have reported on multiple occasions that we are in compliance and have everything that we need in order to meet what is required to get the STARS Act. There are just a few things that Montana School Boards Association and OPI is recommending that we have in place just to make sure that we have an agreement between the union and the superintendent and the board to just ensure that we are always making sure that we're working towards achieving the legislative goal, which is to increase teacher base pay that's set forth in House Bill 252. And so basically this is just a memorandum of understanding that kind of outlines, it doesn't put any real specifics, it doesn't tie us or the union to anything specific. It just basically says we're going to work together to make sure that we do everything that we can to remain in compliance. And as I said, all of the initial reports and the spreadsheets that they have provided us looks to be that we will qualify for the next 5 years without with very little effort to be able to do that we need to. So, but again, this is just kind of one of those things that they're recommending. So I would recommend that you approve that memorandum of understanding with the BFT.
I would make that motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with the BFT.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the memorandum of understanding with BFT. Is there any question or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Passes unanimously.
10.2 board consideration to approve the updates to the job description for the district clerk to ensure we are in compliance with the STARS Act. Also included in your packet is a copy of the changes that are required to make sure that we have in the district clerk's job description. They're all in there in a certain level of or a certain form, but these just are clearly stated the exact way that they're stated in House Bill 252. And so when we have the district clerk and we have all of these things in her job description, it does allow us to get an additional FTE into the quality educator payment calculation, which will increase the total amount that we'll receive in that STARS Act by about $8,000. So I just highlighted all of those things. Like I said, if you read through them, they're all things that are a part of her job description. It just might not have been stated exactly that same way. So we'll just make sure that we do it this way. I think Suzanne looked at it and didn't have any objections. Is that right?
Yeah, as long as I 8,000.
Yeah.
So I would recommend to approve the job description.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the updated job description for the district clerk. Is there any question or discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Josh, are you still with us? Yep,
I am.
Okay. Do you have any questions or input anywhere along the line?
Not so far, just following along.
Okay.
I'm surprised that you're moving at a pretty quick pace for a 2-page agenda like that.
Yeah.
All right, 10.3 board consideration to approve evaluation language to the CPA, which does have union support. So also included in your packet is a copy of the language that needs to be added to the collective bargaining agreement. In normal years, we would do all of this during negotiations, but we haven't done that yet, and we just need to make sure and get some of these things kind of taken care of. So board policy 5222, which is the evaluation of certified staff, does reference that the CBA details these terms of conducting evaluations of tenured certified staff members, but the language is not included. And so nothing will change on how the certified staff are evaluated. It's exactly how we present it every year with what we're doing. It just is not listed in the CBA. And obviously it's just an oversight. So I learned about it because in our accreditation process, that was, I put the CBA in there thinking that it was just there. And that was one of the things that they noted. And so instead of getting a 4, we got a 3 in that area. And so by doing this, I can resubmit that and hopefully get that extra point. Plus it, it does the right thing by putting it in there. And so, like I said, I submitted it to John, our BFT president. He pushed it out to the union and he didn't get any pushback in terms of what that looks like. And again, it's all the same of what we've done, which is for certified staff. It's at least once every 3 years, but that doesn't mean that it is only once every 3 years. It could be more, it just has to be once every 3 years. I would recommend that you approve that language. And I did include board policy 5222 in there, so that you can see where it says to reference to it in the CBA. And then, like I said, I submitted it not really thinking about it, and it really isn't in there. I'm like, it is in there. I know it's in there.
We moved and seconded to approve the evaluation language for the CBA. Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
10.4 board consideration to approve the 25-26 Montana High School Association dues. So included in your packet is a copy of the MHSA 25-26 dues, and it is my recommendation that the proposed dues be approved by the board. In the packet, the first sheet that's in there is just kind of highlights all of the different things. That second page where it just talks about Montana High School Association, the annual dues, you can see all of the different things that Brock checked that we have. And those dues are $4,750 due to Montana School Boards Association by July 15th. Anything you want to add to that? And I would recommend that you approve those.
I would move to approve the Montana High School Association dues for 25-26, the amount of $4,750.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the dues to the Montana High School Association for $4,750. Is there any question or discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
10.5 board consideration to approve the 25-26 MHSA liability catastrophic plan. So included in your packet, you will see at the top there, it says liability catastrophic plan remittance form to the tune of $625. And that's because we have an enrollment of 301 to 400 students. And then the second page behind that just kind of outlines the summary of the benefits, those things that are there. So I would recommend that you approve those.
I so moved to approve the MHSA liability because his staff.
Moved and seconded to approve the Montana High School Association liability catastrophic plan. Any questions? See how I said that? Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously.
10.6 board consideration to approve the 25-26 Montana High School Association concussion insurance. So included in your packet is a copy of the MHSA concussion insurance proposal. Again, it is my recommendation that you approve this again for 301 to 400 students, $171. And it does provide a benefit to students and their families if they have suffered a concussion due to one of our different activities. And Brock, we've had a couple of students take advantage of it, is that right? Over the years.
They've been interested in, I don't know where it's ever came. Once I kind of pass the information along, it's it, I guess, submit it, but
Yeah.
I've given out to a few folks, yeah.
Make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the Montana Country Association concussion insurance. Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously.
10.7, board consideration to approve out-of-state travel for FFA. Just asking for board consideration to allow FFA to travel out of state. They have a vet science judging clinic in June, and Mr. Igo would also like to approve their out-of-state travel for the 25-26 National FFA Conference that's going to be held in October of 2025 in Indianapolis. Normally, he would do that next year, but he has a fairly large group of students that will be going this year because of how much success that they had at the state FFA convention. And so he just wanted to be able to start looking at flights and hotels and some of those different types of things. So he just thought the earlier that he could get that approved, the better he could start planning for that and try to take advantage of those hopefully lower rates for those travel opportunities. I will say the June thing is kind of tentative. His wife is expecting and is due in June. And so he is looking to see if he can get somebody to take those students there. But of course, it would be beneficial for them to go because it's practice for the vet science judging that they will do at the National FFA convention. And so he's hopeful that he can get that figured out. And so I would ask you to approve those. And I think we probably should approve them in separate motions, one for June and then.
I'd make the motion to approve the FFA travel out of state for the vet science judging clinic in June.
Second.
And moved and seconded to approve the vet science out-of-state travel for FFA in June. Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay,
Move to approve the out-of-state travel for 25-26 FFA conference.
and moved and seconded to approve out-of-state travel for FFA to the National Convention in Indianapolis in October of 25. Any discussion or questions? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
10.8, board consideration to pass a resolution in accordance with MCA 20-20-417 for the county election administrator to conduct school elections during the ensuing school year of 26. So included in your packet is a resolution requesting that Beaverhead County conduct school elections for Beaverhead High School for fiscal year 2026. This is just something that we have to do. It doesn't set us in stone to running any type of an election, but it gives us the ability to be able to do that if we so choose to do that. And so whether it's school board elections or potential levies, technology levies, or those different types of things, I would recommend that you.
Conduct the school elections for fiscal year 2026.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the school elections during the spring, I guess.
The resolution.
There was a resolution for the school year of 2026, according to MCA 20-20-417. Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye. This is unanimous.
10.9 board canvas of elections to approve and certify the results. So included in the packet is a copy of the revised May 6th school election results that are signed by the counting judges and the election administrator. And again, that's just a copy. Suzanne has a sealed official copy of the final election results that will need to be opened so that the results can be reviewed, certified, and ultimately published by the board. There will need to be a motion to approve and certify the officials canvas. Again, we probably, had we had new board members, we would have done this at the beginning of the. So, you can kind of look at that, and as Suzanne is opening that, you do have, I think, a very similar document in your packet, and it just says the 25 school district election. And so Suzanne, go ahead. Do you want to go over that? Or you want me to? You, Gary?
I'll let Gary open it.
Okay. Okay.
So then I can switch with it.
Okay.
One thing that when we went over it with Stacy.
Roundy?
Oh.
Is it roundy or round?
Right on screen.
Election administrator. With the turnout, I thought it was very low as well, and she ran a little thing for us all to say. It was decent. We had 44% here in 25. It was 42% last year in 24. It was 38.8% in 23. In 22, it was 46%. And that was with school district 10 had an election in the Fox Run special district. She said kind of depends on what election's going on. And then 44% back in 21. So kind of typical. Yes. That's a good point, I bet. So Gary, is that basically what was in? I wasn't exactly sure what was seated.
Total number of ballots issued, total number of ballots accepted. Hard to read. It looks like the total issued were 5,870. The total accepted were 2,469, which would be the 44%. Then it talks about the technology levies. The high school one against was 207, for was 101. The elementary technology levy was against 1123, for 932.
I think this is for the ballot. So of course we had to have our Beaverhead County High School ballot, and then we also had to be on District 10's ballot, and then we also had to be on Reichley's ballot because there were 3. So this is our total, and these are all of the different districts. So Beaverhead County would be everybody but Dillon Elementary and Reichley because they ran their own. So it'd be all of our rural districts except for Dillon District 10 and Reichley. Does that make sense? And then, of course, Dillon Elementary's one is below that. Yeah, take it on, but that makes sense.
Yes. And I'm still unsure as to whether the other 6 rural districts besides Reichley voted for our high school levy. Did you vote for it, Cole?
Yeah,
Okay, so you guys were included.
yeah. The only thing on my ballot was that.
And I think that-
Yeah. Yeah, it was,
That was the same for us.
okay.
And I think that's the whole, that first column, that's the right column.
And then it has the totals for the District 10 trustees. Marty Lackner had 1,414 votes and Sarah Hartman had 1,351. And then for the 1-year term for District 10, Bill Thompson had 1,194. Evelyn Laws had 585. And then it reiterates again the total District 10 levy was against 1136 and 4919. And Reichley was against 41 and 427. And I don't understand why those totals are different than they are up above, but
for the total ballots accepted.
For the technology levy up above,
Because that was the high school.
it shows against was 48 and 4 was 20. And then down below it shows against 41 and 4 was
68 total. Everybody voted.
It's just that they voted for the high school levy and then.
That's
they
right,
voted
for
for
the
the
own,
raise.
Yeah.
that's right, for his own.
They-
Yeah.
This is right to the bill levy.
Then rightly posted.
So what's this?
It's our,
That's our.
Oh, that's
They
right.
voted.
Yeah,
That's like they voted.
Yes, we have VPP, which is easy to do.
they did tell me there was a discrepancy, like, if you look at the very top, number of ballots accepted. That 309. And if you notice on our middle levy, for and against the 101 and 207, that only adds up to 308. So there's a one vote not accounted for. Stacy Reynolds had talked about, there was a handful of votes turned in where the signatures didn't match, or where people didn't vote on certain ones or voted. I wouldn't assume on something like that, but like on the custody ones where you voted for too many people. So she didn't specifically go through these with us on why, on this particular one, why we're one short. For like the next chunk for us, we are 36 short. From that 2091. At 2055, if you add that 932 and 1123. And then the next chunk, if you add 20 plus 48, you get 68. So we're one short of our 69. So like I said, Stacy didn't specifically say why we're short on all those, but overall she did say the numbers are short because of those reasons.
And I think on that first sheet, it does say how many were rejected and how many provisions, those different numbers are all included on that.
Yeah.
And did she say she contacted all those people and they had a certain amount of time to come in and fix their ballot, and then if they didn't, then it just.
And actually, had any of them come in, we couldn't have done this today. We couldn't have canvassed votes today because
You have to
they
wait
would
so
have
many
only
days.
been able to open them today. I think that's them.
Yes, I was confused, but I understand it now, so that's good.
Would recommend that there be a motion to approve and certify the election officials canvas. Unfortunately.
You said make
I
that.
guess.
What if you don't have them?
I guess I'll make that motion to approve and certify the election officials.
Been moved and seconded to approve and certify the results of the election. Is there any question, discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That's unanimously.
10.9A, board consideration to approve the second semester tier 6 bus route transportation forms. So included in your packet is a copy of the second semester tier 6 bus route transportation reimbursement claim. And it would be my recommendation that you approve this claim. As you guys are looking through that, this does get us through the semester. There are 91 days in this second semester. You'll notice that on 2 and 9, there's an A, and that just means that we switched buses from the first semester. So it's a different bus the second semester than the first semester. And then the reason why there are 2 8s and 2 13s. And you'll notice off to the right where it says days claimed, where those that have multiple don't equal the 91. And it's because Roy left his route to cover Cy Westfall's route, which is 8. And Mark Boca then substituted for Roy for 13 to cover Roy's original route. And so again, I would recommend that you approve this bus route reimbursement plan. If you have any questions, let me know.
So moved. To approve the bus route reimbursement plan.
We moved and seconded to approve the Cyclists Connecticut TR6 bus route transportation forms. Is there any questions? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, passes unanimously.
Right, 10.9C, or I'm sorry, 10.9B, consideration to approve the contract with BSN Sports Reward Program. So included in your packet is a copy of the BSN Sports Reward Program. Mr. Millamathy is here and he visited.
You might remember we signed a contract in 2022 with BSN. Basically, we would use them as our equipment and then uniform, all our, yes, athletics would use them to buy our stuff through. That gave us some rebate money back on different levels on how much you spent. We would receive money back. They've approached us with a new contract and moving us to become a Nike only school, to where we would be wearing Nike uniforms. Currently, we have all but 2 programs in Nike uniforms. And I assume was softball that they were going to move them anyway when their uniform rotation was up. We do, in our old contract, each year we'd buy uniform. Just say last year, I think we bought girls basketball uniforms. We would get what was called Nike credit money. So it'd be like $1,000 for the girls basketball uniforms that we could spend on Nike products, how we, saw fit. With this Nike contract, we would get that $5,000 upfront every year for 5 years. So
And you could use that on whatever you want.
yeah. It has to be Nike specific gear, but we can, use it how we want it. And then on top of that, we would also receive 10% back on any monies we would spend over 20,000, which the old contract was, I have it right here, 25 to 50,000, we would get 6% back. So that's increased 4% as well, with the upfront of 5,000 a year to get our teams in, or keep our teams in Nike. The teams that aren't there currently, when they're up on uniform rotation, that's when they'd have to switch. So we don't have to get them there right now. So
Does that exclude the cheerleaders?
yes, yeah, it's just the cheer uses the varsity spirit, which we've used forever.
Yeah.
Just when we purchase through there, it doesn't count towards our spending levels for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's never counted. So we don't get the discount. You can see we get the discounts on the Nike apparel and stock uniforms at 40%. We don't buy footwear, but if we did, it would be 30. BSN products, we're getting a 15% discount, and any like branded BSN products at 10%, which we have this one as well.
It's one to buy the Nike footwear. It's just not.
No.
That's a big school.
Yeah.
Or
Now-
the online store, right?
Yeah, and so we offer these online stores. It'd be amazing, but each team will open up these stores for parents or kids to buy gear through. Yeah, and that money will also go. There's a fan store online on BSN that's open all the time. So. I don't know. Does anybody have any questions?
Sounds like a better
It
deal.
does sound like a better deal. If we had teams all over the board with different jerseys and stuff like that, I would think differently about it. But we have new coaches who have now ordered uniforms and they like Nike or Jordan, whatever. Very comfortable with moving forward with it. It's a little more paying for about 5 years. We can get out of it if we've, something crazy where Nike uniforms just price themselves completely out, then we have to get out of it, we can get out of it.
Is there a penalty to get out of it pretty bad or no?
Good deal.
Yeah, it just depends on what uniform you buy too. Basketball jerseys, volleyballs are fairly cheap. You know, you get into the baseballs, footballs, they're more expensive because of this little stick.
Well, I would make the motion then to approve the BSN 5-year.
Sorry.
Been moved and seconded to approve the new BSN Sports Reward Program contract. Is there any discussion? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I just had one other thing that I say.
Sure.
We did receive a dissolution from Sheridan on the co-op. They're gonna get out of those wrestling co-ops, just. They haven't since, we haven't had a participant from them in 3 years, but they decided that they don't want to participate anymore, so
As Twin Bridges or Lima decided in.
they haven't decided anything. Put it on like we'd like to know it. So,
And the one thing that Clark did learn this year was that we no longer have to renew them every 3 years.
yeah,
They're in place until there's a dissolution. So,
They're the ones that decide the dissolution of those, or can we dissolution somebody too?
we could, yeah,
We could also.
yeah. It just has to like. So their board chair signs it, their superintendent.
And softball qualified for state and boys are in a play-in game.
Yeah, softball's the 2 seed at the state tournament from Southwest. Boys, we're hoping to play Saturday at 2. That's not finalized yet, but looks like we'll be playing close to Billings Central potentially. But the guest was, so they win that, they go to state. And then we got tennis headed over tomorrow for divisions. Right.
Busy time. Anybody else have any questions for Brock? Okay,
10.9C, consideration of possible action on candidate Chris White for a bus driver position with the district. Possible executive session as determined by board chair pursuant to section 2-3-2033 MCA. So the administration, I have received additional information relevant to a candidate who has applied to be a substitute in an activity bus driver. And that's Chris White. And
okay, due to the nature of the information and to protect the individual's right to privacy as board chairman, I've determined that the individual's right of privacy exceeds the merits of public disclosure, and therefore the board will be convening in an executive session to discuss the matter pursuant to MCA 2-3-2033. So with that being said, yes, Casey, John, and Brock and Josh need to leave until we get this meeting done.